Welcome to PandTha Games. If you're listening on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify, links are in the bio below.
Feel free to leave a review and let us know what you guys thought, and if there's any ways we can improve, or if there's anything you guys just want to hear more of. Enjoy the episode, guys.
Thanks. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of PandTha Talks. Episode 16 today.
Yes, we checked before we started today, because
we're getting better, I guess.
A tough thing to do, apparently.
Yeah, for some reason it never crossed our minds. We're definitely logical people, we swear. Actually, no, I can't swear to that. That'd be a load of crap. Oh. But no, it's been an interesting week for gaming news, to be honest. I don't know if you've seen, but Microsoft's deal has been rejected.
Oh.
It got denied by, guess what country of all countries?
Us.
Yep. The country that was actually not disagreeing with the deal. And
How's that work? What the hell changed?
Oh, there's a lot to go on with that. To be honest, that's like the major talking point for this week. We've got a lot to discuss in regards to it. But I thought I'd start with the question from our community manager. Thought that'd be a nice place to begin. So we do actually have a question that our community manager posted onto Twitter for us, asking the simple question: Happy Friday. How has everyone's week been? Question of the day: if you've had a stressful week, what would your game of choice to wind down be? And me and Will sat there for about 5 minutes, scratched his heads, and Will said, about in agreement to me, I don't think I have one.
No, because games tend to wind me up rather than down.
Because Will's a clock, if you didn't know. Just wound up.
There's certainly a clock involved. I'm just a ticking time bomb, dude. Clock in there somewhere, I'm sure.
But
when you play games as much as I do, man, you don't really play them to wind down.
No, you just play them for that escape factor. Time to get away from the world, more than
Well, time to get back into the world, because it's more my world than the real world is.
Fucking agreed. As sad as it is to admit, it is how a lot of people feel. Sadly, that is just the way everything has gone. But at the same time, it does make up a large industry that a lot of us are happy to be a part of.
Yep. Certainly makes a hell of a
What was that? All I heard was certainly makes
certainly makes them a hell of a lot of money too, so they're not complaining.
Exactly. So Steam updated recently, and at first I was 50-50 on the new update, but actually as time's going on, I like it. I think it's okay.
It was a Steam update? What do you mean? Nothing seems different whatsoever.
It's a beta update.
Oh, you're in the beta, okay.
Yeah, I stay in the beta because I just like to see what changes are coming up. It's me, I'm like obsessed with technology of all kind.
I am aware.
Yeah, it's kind of worrying. But they added like a new... Actually, you know what? I'll share my screen so we can discuss this a little. I think it's just quite a cool little thing. It's nothing amazing, but it's pretty cool. This is the new Steam overlay.
Overlay?
Yeah, well, application, I guess you could say.
Looks crazy different.
It doesn't, but there's a few new little features that I quite like.
It's quite different.
So we can actually now get notifications for what games are on sale instead of looking at his phones on the application.
Nice.
Or emails. This bit here, view news from Steam, I like this because they've changed the in-game overlay. So on here, basically, you can pull up game information, which pulls up guides, screenshots, playtime, friends playing, etc. achievements that's the same. You can bring up notes and all sorts of other stuff in there. It's got quite a lot of useful little features down at the bottom here, which I think is pretty cool. And you can see them pulling up quite a lot of this information. And that's the little notes section. And if you wanted, and you were making notes about the game that you needed to pay attention to, for example there, you can actually have it slightly invisible so you can see through it and stay on the screen.
Your game and have it transparent.
Yeah, exactly.
Or slightly opaque.
Yeah, that's the words. Yeah, I was trying to think of it, opacity. That's the word I was looking for the other day. But my favourite is the manage downloads. And I'm just going to start the download of a random game. This is the hardest decision of my life. Okay, let's do this. You can see on the bottom the actual picture of the game, so you know what game's downloading, as well as the percentage and that one downloading how many there are. That is a lot better.
Yeah, it's almost similar to how it was, but the picture of it is nice and so you know what's up it.
Yeah, 100%. But they added that, and then at the same time, just uninstall that. If you go into your settings, there's information there.
That's completely different as well.
Yeah, I need to blur a bit of that out now, so I've remembered that. But yeah. What, sorry? Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll make a note for that in a bit, because I'll remember for now. But yeah, that's what Steam's gone and done through the week. And to be honest, I quite like it. I think it's not too bad. And it's kind of brought it to where it needed to be, considering they'd updated the library and they'd updated the friends list. I think it were about the time now that they updated the actual overlay itself. So
rarely ever use the overlay, to be honest, man.
Same. I use it if I need to message a friend on Steam, and that's because my friend on Steam decided to message me.
You're usually the one who messages me on Steam just randomly instead of Discord or Facebook because you're just being a weirdo for the day.
When was the last time I messaged you on Steam?
It happens occasionally.
Saturday the 29th of April. No, that's today. Okay, it's got no information on that.
Yeah, it doesn't tell you anymore. It's like bugged, dude.
Yeah, it usually shows you like one prior message, and that's about it. But no, I can't even seem to find that. The most I see in there, though, nowadays is when I invite people to games. That's about it. But no, I think Steam's done alright, to be honest, with the updates. Oh. In regards to the actual question, though, asked by our community manager, considering I'll just give like one game that I might chill out to, I guess you could call it that. It's called any VR game that me and PandTha can play together, because that just goes mental.
Yeah, the only problem is my VR is not exactly in optimal condition, so...
Yeah, that's the issue at the moment. I mean, I managed to turn Ghost Recon Wildlands into quite a funny situation last night. I was playing with one of our friends, Mr. Snowflake, and he ended up joining with me, and I just turned around because me, him, and another one of our friends all got into different vehicles. So I gave us a random objective. Get to the objective any way possible, only condition, you're not allowed to use roads at all. That did... Ghost Recon Wildlands. There's a lot of mountains in that game. Honestly, I'd say those vehicles are more like Skyrim horses than any other game.
Oh, good old Skyrim horses, dude.
Honestly. I had, what were it? I can't remember the type of vehicle it were now, but I basically ended up just sat at like it had to have been like a 30-degree angle, no, 45, 50-degree angle. Honestly, mental. Good fun though.
Crawling uphill.
Yeah. It was great fun though. You just set yourself little objectives. You what, sorry?
A casual day in gaming.
Exactly. But no, I find if you set yourself a daft objective, it makes a game turn from like really stressful and shit like that just to a bit more fun. But it's thinking of what to set yourself. That's the bigger issue.
Yeah.
Don't know. Any game can turn into that. It just requires some thought in what you're gonna do.
Well, typically, it requires one idiot to play with another idiot, and you'll find something stupid to do.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
that's the best method there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've been doing that for decades. For over a decade, anyways.
Something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. Right. I'll start off with some nice news then for the week.
Let us hear.
Sony has confirmed more PlayStation games are coming to PC.
Wow. I wonder how old they'll be.
More PlayStation games will be coming to PC within the next year or so, Sony has revealed. Sony has published their fiscal year 2022 consolidated earnings report containing a tiny bit of information on PC launches. Sony says it will continue rolling out catalogue titles for PC, but didn't provide a timetable for the launch of such PC releases. Is this a major surprise? No, of course it fucking isn't. Everyone expected it.
They're gonna have to keep up with the other companies. So yeah, Xbox is released near enough everything.
Yeah, exactly. No, it isn't. But since the last PlayStation made game launched on PC earlier this year, The Last of Us Part 1, Sony has been mum on the possibility of further PlayStation exclusives, both on PS4 and PS5, making the jump from consoles to PC. By now, we've seen Horizon Zero Dawn, Marvel Spider-Man, and other exclusives debut, but The Last of Us Part 1 was arguably PlayStation's worst PC exclusive to release. It's not arguably, it was, and it was just due to the bugs and technical issues. There is no argument really to be made otherwise as of yet. But this next comment does kind of hit me a little. This comment paves the way for further PC port speculations from the PlayStation fanbase. One game that has been eyed up for a port for fans for a good while is Sucker Punch's Ghost of Tsushima, but nothing has ever been confirmed by Sony, with merely a box art change last year in June hinting at a possible PT port. I've been wanting to play Ghost of Tsushima for a while, started it at a gaming cafe I sometimes go to, and it's good, but I don't want to have to buy a console for it, another one at least. And I can't bother to get it on PS4 because that means just hooking it up to the projector every time I want to go on it. Can't be asked for that. Sony usually tends to hang back on porting games to PC for a few years after their first launch. The only exception to that has been The Last of Us Part 1, which took roughly half a year to arrive on PC, but was always billed as coming to PC since it was first announced early in 2022. So yeah, more games coming from Sony to PC. I'd say that's a positive for the platform, massively so.
Provided they don't fuck it up as much as they did with The Last of Us.
Yeah. Well,
Which
that's
is
why they.
seemingly a big ask.
Yeah, that's why they need to just rely on Nixon. They bought them for the reason of making ports. Leave them to what they're good at. They can do it. Now, I'm a little bit confused about this, so I'm just gonna. Here it is.
What's up?
No, it's
What's up with you, Roy? You sound like you're struggling a bit.
I've got something here that's that basically I'm gonna go into now what went off through this week. that's caused such a bit of an uproar with the Microsoft deal. And basically, what it is, the guys who we've been discussing about for the past couple of weeks, the CMA, have turned around and denied Microsoft's deal for the purchase of Activision Blizzard. Their basic reasoning, if I recall correctly, which I'm about to pull up now anyways, was to do with... You know what, let me just do this first. Do you ever have one of those days where you're so bad at spelling? Just damn, that was bad. Here it is. April 26th, so 3 days ago this happened. UK CMA rejects Microsoft's deal to buy Activision Blizzard over cloud gaming concerns. Now, that's what they're claiming on this article, but the overall concern was actually primarily around the aspect of they believed it was still not a good deal for competition within the market. And that they believed it would damage the UK's video game industry. So this is what was actually released anyways. The UK Competition and Markets Authority has rejected the $69 billion deal for Microsoft to buy Activision Blizzard. The UK CMA stated the deal would damage competition in the cloud gaming market. In its press release, the CMA has stated that Microsoft currently controls between 60 to 70% of the cloud gaming market. In addition to owning the Xbox business, the CMA points out that Microsoft also has the leading PC operating system in Windows, along with its Azure and Xbox cloud gaming infrastructure. Right. My big issue with that, honestly, they may claim it's a fight against competition. It's always been at the forefront. If they're wanting to make further leaps in this, that's up to them. If others are not catching up, it is not up to a country to go, no, I need to hold you back because the others aren't as ahead as you. They've not gone as far yet. It basically sums up the UK's stance on fucking education all over again. Hold one person back for the good of the morons.
What education did.
Exactly. Oh, I'm happy someone got that. The deal would reinforce Microsoft's advantage in the gaming in the market by giving it control over important gaming content such as Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft. The evidence available to the CMA indicates that, absent the merger, Activision would start providing games via cloud platforms in the foreseeable future. The cloud allows UK gamers to avoid buying expensive gaming consoles and PCs and gives them much more flexibility and choice as to how they play. Allowing Microsoft to take such a strong position in the cloud gaming market just as it begins to grow rapidly would risk undermining the innovation that is crucial to the development of these opportunities. Now, I don't work at the CMA, but I'm curious as to whether they took a look at Google Stadia. Because that was a fucking shit show. That thing just, oh dear God.
Didn't go down so well, did it?
Not particularly, no. And, yeah, Xbox cloud gaming is pretty decent. But it doesn't have a PC system. Like Stadia actually did, I'll give it that much. You are forced into using a controller.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. So what makes them think I'm going to suddenly go and switch to that when I have a system to play on? Some may, yes. And it's great for people who don't have the money for these sort of things. But for those of us who do, Why would we? When we've got the technology to do what we want to do right in front of us. Doesn't make much sense. While the CMA did state that Microsoft offered remedies for the situation, the CMA rules that they did not address some areas. Here we go. This is what apparently Microsoft should have covered. It did not sufficiently cover different cloud gaming service business models, including multi-game subscription services. I hate the idea that multi-game subscription services are even a thing, but fair enough. It was not sufficiently open to providers who might wish to offer versions of games on PC operating systems other than Windows. I don't know if you've seen, but the PC market is quite difficult to get basically on any other device other than Windows. Mac is really developed for. Linux, well, thanks to Valve themselves, Linux now has a distribution that has a lot of gaming possibility. Because Valve created the Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck runs on a Linux distribution. And all Linux distributions are open source, so anyone can use them. It is actually possible to get that all sorted and actually be able to play games on Linux with ease now, rather than the struggle it used to be. It would standardize the terms and conditions on which games are available, as opposed to them being determined by the dynamism and creativity of competition in the market, as would be expected by the absence of merger. So basically, they wanted different terms as to what they were given. The press release
suit them more than it suited anyone else.
Yeah, it seems as though they're basically just there like, no, you need to give possibilities for others to be able to use these things too. It's like, that's fine, but at the same time, why? Like, if another service was doing well, show us one. Other than Xbox Cloud Gaming, which is for an Xbox system, pretty much. Well, for mobile and PC as well, but you've got to use a controller. You've got PS Now, which does the same thing. And then you've got what for PC? Does anyone know one? Let me actually give it a search. PC Cloud Gaming. Xbox Cloud Gaming, best cloud gaming services. I'm pretty sure Nvidia do one. Yeah, Nvidia GeForce Now do one. Shadow is apparently one, and Luna. Be honest, didn't hear either of these. But let's just quickly go through the pros and cons here. Nvidia, play games you already own, free membership option, and regular updates. Con, expensive for the highest membership tier. Shadow, gives remote access to an entire PC, play any games you already own, works on mobile and PC. The cons are expensive and not specific to gaming. And then Luna, playable across a variety of devices, several subscription plans. Prime members get a free rotation of monthly games. Negatives, catalogue is split across multiple bundles, uncertain future. Huh. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not certain that that's really great options. But hey, I could be wrong. It might be like the greatest thing that we could ever hope for. I'd need to spend a bit of cash to try them. So you know what? For next week, I might do. We'll find out. We'll see how I feel over the week. I think it'll be interesting to see how they go. But yeah, they talk about this other cloud gaming systems. In the PC market, I can't name many that are out there. and the Nvidia one was like the only one that could possibly come to mind. And I'm not even sure that it could really stand up. Also, if you go to Shadow, it doesn't even come to the... Let me just check this. EN. Looks like you can get onto it. There we go. Bloody hell. £30 a month.
Ooh, that's steep.
So for Shadow, it's £30 a month. And that's just for a Windows PC. Is there any specifics in for stats and parts? You know what, let's go through the purchasing system. Shadow Unlimited, right. So if you want to experience with RTX and like proper 4K gaming, anything else like that, £45 a month. Oh wait, I can actually get this. Let me check this. Gotta enter my zip code to actually look at these, which is nice and fun. Right. I'm going to take a quick snipping tool so I can get this without showing off my postcode.
Rory.
Yeah.
Are you thinking you're screen sharing right now?
No.
Okay.
I know I'm not screen sharing right now, thankfully. Right, I will be though in 2 seconds. Right. And here we go. There we go. So, no postcode. I've crossed it out. These are the two possibilities you get.
That's it.
That's it. These are your choices. The only choices you get. Now, I would like to point a few bits out here, because I am a little bit worried, I will be honest. This amount of RAM.
That's exactly what I was looking at.
This as well. Them right there are a little bit concerning. Don't get me wrong, with this, you could actually play quite a lot of games. I'm not going to deny that. There's a lot that you could do with ease. This is about where we're coming up to with gaming now. And that's what's worrying. 16 gig of RAM, sometimes you need more than that to run a game. If we're going to talk about like Forspoken that I was running recently, when I did that review in the first couple of weeks, that actually was supposed to be requiring more than 16 gig. And we're hitting that point where 16 gig is no longer enough. You're running 8 gig sometimes to actually manage your operating system.
Yeah.
16 is
half of it.
Exactly. 16 is no longer enough for gaming. And to charge £45 a month for 16 gig of RAM, it's insane. I could actually finance a PC and get it cheaper than that, which is just mental. But anyways, let's take a look at Nvidia, because, you know, they're obviously wanting us to be able to join, and it's all for games that we earn. So that means that as well as actually getting now, you also have to then proceed to get to buy the games yourself. You've got to own the games to play the games. That's how this works. So, those are the prices with the technology that's there.
1 hour session. Wait, you're limited to time as well?
Yes.
What?
I was wondering when you'd pick that one up.
I was too busy laughing at the free membership, how you get 1 hour session length. I was like, well, I mean, if you're getting free. And then I was looking at the other, I was like, wait, they also have a limit.
Yeah. 8-hour gaming session limit. Upgrade to a 4080 rig when available. Thanks. But 3080 rig, that's what's in my. That's the graphics card that's in mine, a 3080 Ti. So mine's actually above this. Do I use it to its best potential? Like hell do I. Have I played in 4K? Like fuck have I. I play in 1080p, 144 Hz. That is me. That's just how I play. I should probably upgrade.
Can't go back from 1440, dude.
I should probably upgrade, man, but I just don't see a point yet. I need to find a point and a reason.
Honestly, the change from 1920 by 1080 to 2560 by 1440 is so nice. You can see so much of a difference, especially when you're in like the settings of a game and you can still see the background while the menus are open.
Oh
You
yeah.
can actually visibly see the change between resolutions.
You see, that's the thing, man. I know when I change, I'm gonna fucking love it, and I will adore it like with
Wonderful.
every inch of me. But until I do that, I am going to hold off for the highest possibility that I can. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, but on the priority one, you can actually get 6 months of this for that.
The same with Ultimate. You can get 6 months.
Yeah. But 6
You
months.
basically a month. You basically
Yeah.
one of the months free.
Yeah, exactly. But with this
Priority
one,
one's fairly cheap.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
on
price?
a special price. So yeah, it's about half price realistically. But I think that's a pretty reasonable deal. 40% off. That's pretty decent. I can deal with that.
What is it for 1 month?
For 1 month, £10.
Wait, how's that
Well,
only
$10.
40% off?
Because it's $49.99 for 6 months, or $39.99.
Oh, the usual price is 40 for 6. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot. Okay. I was so confused.
It's okay. But yeah, that's the thing. And with this, once again, you'd have to go to your Steam, buy the games you want to play, download the games, and then move forward. I don't think that's as great.
I'm curious as to what they consider a basic rig.
You know what? After this, I'm going to set this up. I'm going to play 1 hour. And we'll see. We'll see this.
Up to 1080p's. This is Rory. You get up to 1080p resolution.
Yeah. That's the thing you need to pay attention to, is these up to. Oh. So what happens if we hit join, actually? Oh, I have to go through all that. Never mind. Right. I'll turn it back to regular screen, because if I don't, I'm going to mess myself over, because there's an advert for a place near where I live. And I don't want to be showing that. Right. But yeah, that's why it doesn't make much sense to me for mentioning the Windows cloud services. I don't think that's a good argument. The press release also quotes Martin Coleman, who was the chair of the independent panel of experts that the CMA brought in to investigate the merger. He stated, "Cloud gaming needs a free, competitive market to drive innovation and choice. That is best achieved by allowing the current competitive dynamics in cloud gaming to continue to do their job. This decision is a massive blow to Microsoft, and it remains to be seen what the company will do after this rejection by the UK CMA." Now, I'm going to go straight on to a second article here and just read the headline to start with. Nvidia rebuts UK says Microsoft Activision deal good for cloud gaming. Now, what was, remind me, Will, what was one of the two major PC cloud gaming systems? That
PC.
Yeah, for PC.
Could you really consider it major?
Well, it's pretty much the only one out there for PC gaming. So, you know.
What was one of them called? Shadow and Luna? Were the other
Shadow, Luna, and then Nvidia. Yeah, exactly. So, Nvidia themselves, probably one of Xbox's main competitors for PC versions, have said that they think it's a good deal, which kind of destroys a bit of their argument. Meanwhile, Redmond signs another 10-year deal to bring games to the European Union, European cloud gaming platform Endware, despite the UK CMA's ruling to block the Microsoft Activision deal. The UK blocked Microsoft Activision deal. We all know about that now. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, Nvidia GeForce Now tweeted on Twitter, GeForce Now and other cloud gaming providers stand to gain an even deeper catalogue of games if Microsoft's acquisition of Activision is completed. We see this as a benefit to cloud gaming and hope for a positive resolution. Jeez, the UK fucked up.
Oh, what's new, man? What's new?
Yeah. Well, this is
We're
the thing.
getting that.
Like the major one that I wanted to read. This is an article that popped up on my phone. UK games sector wanted Microsoft deals, says Sir Ian Livingston. Like that's someone who got knighted. He's the co-founder of Games Workshop. Ah. Sir Ian Livingston, also co-founder of Games Workshop, said it would be odd if the UK was the only place to object. The blocking of the deal by the UK regulator provoked a furious response from Microsoft, with its president saying the move was bad for Britain. The UK's move means the billion-dollar company cannot go ahead globally, which is absolutely dumb because all it does, if it's rejected, Microsoft could genuinely put their hand up and just go, okay, fuck you, Britain, bye bye. And they could basically revoke selling games to Britain, they could revoke selling their services, their technology. They can basically just take it all away and go, we're not selling to you.
We'll just have to go back to LAN gaming, dude.
It'd be worse than that, mate. Windows is Microsoft. Honestly, that would basically be the UK government shooting theirself in the head. Not even the foot. The foot would imply they're still in the race. That would then just be taking themselves out of life itself. They would be done. Oh, honestly, it's the dumbest idea I ever read. I was so annoyed when that came through because someone at work told me and I just shook my head in disappointment. I really did. I'd never been as gutted as I was that day. But not even because I'm a massive fan of Microsoft. I'm just a fan of things fucking going right, I guess you could say.
Yeah, those sort of things don't tend to happen.
No, especially not in this country. Both Microsoft and Activision have said they will appeal against the CMA's decision. On Thursday, Microsoft President Brad Smith launched a fierce attack on the judgment, telling the BBC that it marked Microsoft's darkest day in its 4 decades of working in the UK. People are shocked, people are disappointed, and people's confidence in technology in the UK has been severely shaken, he said. Now that is just a bit of a fucking overestimation, but okay. Adding that the European Union was a better place to start a business. A spokesperson for Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, because we all want him in power. Moving on. Sorry, I always said I'd never get into politics, but yeah. Said Mr. Smith's claims were not born out of facts, adding that the UK game sector had doubled in size over the past 10 years. I need to add, he is correct about that. The UK game sector is actually quite good, and it actually releases quite a lot of games. Mostly nowadays, sad to say, it is indie games, but all of them are done to a very well standard. They are usually quite good games, and I've spoken to quite a few people within that industry. Now, the issue with him saying that is it's all great, fine, and dandy if he's saying, yeah, our industry has doubled, but they're one of the people that can kind of go, fuck you, we're just not going to host you anymore. And you can lose a lot of that industry. Because Microsoft have the money to start buying people out. It's not difficult. Though, seems like Sony may have slipped a couple pounds into the CMA's pocket. I'm just going to be serious here for a minute. How did the CMA go from what we were talking about the other week, in them disagreeing with Sony vehemently, to suddenly agreeing with them? You know what I mean? Sony was going mental about it the other week, and all of a sudden they agree.
Yeah.
It doesn't really add up much. I do have to
I'll
add.
give you that. There is something strange if it.
Yeah, I do have to add. That was speculation and more. Well, I'd say in jest, but I'm really unsure. So we'll leave it as speculation.
Maybe
It
they
just,
just dislike the UK that much. They don't want to agree with them.
yeah, equally possible. Sir Ian, who is now the co-founding partner of gaming investment group Hero Capita, told the BBC's Today programme, I think the sentiment of the games industry itself in the UK is for it to go ahead. It would be odd if the UK was the only region to object to this acquisition going forward, he added. I would hope that they can sit down and perhaps negotiate a settlement which might be in everyone's interest over time. Which, that would be the logical way to move forwards. Sir Ian said the UK's industry was a great British success story, having developed some of the biggest franchises in the world, including Tomb Raider and Grand Theft Auto, which is true. It's always been over-delivering in content, but it's always undeserved by capital and recognition, he added. I mean, if we'll talk about people and how they view games, well, that's just another topic in general, and that's for probably for another week. Jesus Christ, that would be a long discussion. But yeah, the UK gaming industry has come a long way, and to be honest, they've done well with what they have. And I'd love to see more companies start taking the initiative to work with them, but things like this obviously turn them away from it. Because the UK itself is run by a set of babbling buffoons. So it ends up in, sadly, a situation where people disagree with each other constantly about these different things. And instead of sitting down working out how to move forwards, they'll just sit at the back constantly rehashing past discussions. And it never moves forward, which is sad to say. This is a highly competitive market, and a negative sentiment is not good for the industry or indeed the UK economy. The CMA is the first regulator to announce its decision, but last year the US Federal Trade Commission began the legal challenge to block the takeover. In March, EU regulators delayed their decision after Microsoft proposed concessions to get the deal over the line. Sir Ian said it's somewhat come as a surprise that they, the CMA, said no at this time. However, Gareth Sutcliffe, senior games analyst at Enders Analysis, said the deal has been in trouble for a while. He added that Microsoft simply didn't do the necessary regulator outreach to get this deal over the line. But it seemed as though they were working quite well with them, from what every other topic has come out of it. So once again, why the sudden change? does not add up. But welcome to the CMA, I guess. I thought they were making progress over the last couple of weeks, and I was agreeing with them quite a bit, but now it seems as though everything has gone to pot.
It was all in elaborate ruse.
It seems to have been that way, doesn't it? Just, casually going, well, we've said a lot of positive things. Let's go and ruin it all by just saying, nah, fuck off. We're done. Don't want it. What'd you say, sorry?
They had to balance it out.
Oh, didn't they just? Oh. So, I thought I'd end this discussion off with an opinion piece from someone. I've not read this, but I think it'd be interesting to weigh in on. Which means it could be very concerning and we might have to cut a load of bits, but we'll see.
Yay!
Yay! Video editing! Hurrah!
Time to lose half the episode again, Roy.
Hey, let me off. We're done with that. The CMA and Microsoft agree on one thing. The cloud gaming market is what matters. Opinion piece. The one thing I hate about user submissions, they always try and use big words to try and seem smarter than they are. I just don't get it. Well, big words or complicated words.
Tell me you don't Google words to make yourself seem like big smart boy?
No, surprisingly I don't. Surprisingly, I really don't. What does this... How do I say that? Okay, apparently it's got my name in it a bit. For all the furore over Call of Duty... What? I don't know, I've never heard this word.
Are they just trying to say fury and just completely...
F-U-R-O-R-E. The outbreak of public anger or excitement. A wave of enthusiastic admiration, a craze. What the? Yeah. For all of the furore over Call of Duty, Microsoft would never have made a deal this big just to sell more Xbox consoles. In the end, it wasn't really about Call of Duty, it wasn't even really about PlayStation, and no matter how much some people want to try and spin this as a console war narrative. I agree with that. Everyone seems to be hell-bent and turn this into some sort of console war argument. I think it's just the beneficent to move forwards. That's what's needed. Wait a minute. Apparently the Ukraine's approved Microsoft's acquisition. Come on, UK.
What a bunch of guys. The shit show they're in and they're over here approving our shit.
Yeah. They're literally in the middle of a war and they've taken time out of their war to just go, yeah, we give you the green finger, yeah. We fully agree.
Green finger?
Green thumb. Oh. That's what I was trying to say.
The green light, Roy?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Giving someone the green finger.
What?
Oh, that's a new one.
And green thumb has nothing to do with saying yes.
Oh, the exhaustion's just caught up, apparently. Jesus.
We may need to take a short intermission to deal with Rory's stroke.
Yeah, something like that. Jesus. Okay. Right, I think I'm okay.
Are you sure now?
I'm not certain.
Do you need some water?
You know what, yeah. Back in two, we're taking a short intermission. We are back.
Yeah, we give you the green light. We give you like green thumb, green finger.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still discussing this because we just went into a cackling fit for about 10 minutes. It's been bad. But we've made it through. Will still partially hasn't. I'm like on the verge, but I'm trying. Anyways, we'll move forwards. So the Ukraine agreed with Activision Blizzard's purchased by Microsoft. He's dying, as you can hear.
I'm fine.
So, the biggest setback to Microsoft's bid to buy Activision Blizzard, a setback that could quite possibly sink the entire deal, came largely from an interpretation of Microsoft's own beliefs and logics. What?
What?
I don't know. That part has
My
baffled me.
brain.
Microsoft, perhaps more than any other company, believes. He's using a big word again. Fervently, the cloud gaming is the future of the industry. The UK's competition and markets authority ruling blocking the Activision acquisition. Bloody hell, that was a bit of alliteration that messed with me. Is largely based on taking Microsoft seriously on this point, making a ruling based on protecting competition and innovation in a market in its infancy that both CMA and Microsoft believe will grow and dominate the business landscape in years to come. Once again, I feel like I've covered this point. If you've got the equipment, why the hell would you? You wouldn't. Probably as simple as that.
Especially the price you're on the back.
Yeah. I mean, Microsoft know themselves they cannot keep the price as low as they are. They've said that for a while. And we're just kind of waiting to see what the price will eventually be. But I doubt it'll be anything near as low as high as what Nvidia's charging in the others. So, this ruling is a product of a very specific time frame. If Microsoft had tried to make an acquisition of this scale in the game sector 5 or 10 years ago, it's likely that it would have sailed through the regulatory scrutiny of every major market with only a few light touch remedies demanded for consumer protection. That's because 5 to 10 years ago, the conversation would have been solely about the console market. And if we look at the console market, the arguments for blocking the deal are very weak. Microsoft trails both Sony and Nintendo and is severely outgunned by both of its platform holder rivals in terms of successful high profile exclusives. That is true. We actually looked at this, and that is the truth of it. But at the same time, Sony doesn't seem really willing to work on cloud market or by any means other than PS Now and have refused to do anything similar to Game Pass. And Microsoft themselves, if I recall correctly, signed an agreement with Sony to help them get their cloud gaming systems set up. Yet they've still done nothing. So that's on Sony.
You know why they've not done anything, dude? It's not exclusive to PlayStation.
Yeah. Other people can copy this market. Damn. What a horrid thing. Ugh. That's, yep, high profile stuff, yeah. Allowing it to buy Activision Blizzard could actually have made the console market more competitive in the medium to long term. Some guarantees about not pulling key platform franchises from rival systems for a negotiated window of time would have been warranted to protect consumers who had bought expensive hardware with a reasonable expectation of access to a specific franchise. But there was really no good argument to be made for outright blocking the deal, no matter how loudly Sony decried the idea. I don't even know. The guy's using words that you don't really see. There's another one coming up in a bit, and I'm just not even going to try.
How are they
All of,
considering this to be like bad for the console competitive market when, if you look at it in all retrospect, Sony themselves have an extremely unfair advantage given all the exclusives that the PlayStation has.
oh yeah, but those are primarily made by PlayStation.
Yeah, so like take if Sony was like well not Sony Activision was to be bought by Microsoft, so that the exclusives to Call of Duty would beat everyone, then it would actually make it more competitive rather than less, because it
Oh yeah.
means if people were wanting to play it on Xbox, they'd actually have that option because they're not having to go to PlayStation just to get this one extra map and this one extra skin, one extra whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what this guy's saying here. He's saying that the console market, there's no grounds to block the deal. But the issue seems to be in the cloud market. As in the cloud market, it seems as though it would make Microsoft just like clearly ahead with no real changes.
They are clearly ahead.
Yeah, no one else is really working on it, and those that are, well,
They're
they've
not
not
even
gone very
like they're
far.
clearly ahead on just everything.
Yeah, in this regard, I'd say so. Here it is. All this remains true. There are really no grounds blocking the deal on the console market, as the CMA itself observed some months ago, pulling Call of Duty off other franchises from major rival platforms would be an incredibly costly move and likely insult in a, I can't say that word, something victory at best. Call of Duty is a very important game franchise, of course, but let's not overstate the case. The current competitive dynamics in the console industry, any eventuality where Microsoft stopped shipping COD games to PlayStation would ultimately do far more damage to Call of Duty than it would to PlayStation. Yes, we went over this, and I do agree with that. Sony consoles are better positioned to survive the loss of one of the myriad tentpole franchises than Call of Duty is to survive the loss of its biggest platform. The console market is mature and settled. Sony and Nintendo both have libraries of IP that provide very significant moats for their business, and Microsoft getting a major boost from the large acquisition can be reasonably argued to be good for competition and pro-consumer in this space. That's correct. Now, this is the bit where the guy's going to finally make his point.
Well, hey.
I know, right? However, it's not 5 or 10 years ago, and this isn't the landscape in which the deal is being proposed. Cloud gaming is being touted as the industry's technological future, most of all by Microsoft itself, and arguably, much more importantly, game subscription services like Game Pass are positioning themselves to be the industry's business model future. In line with how subscription services have become the default business model for every other form of media that has shifted to the cloud-based system. This remains a sector in its infancy, but Microsoft is by far the dominant player in the market thus far, and the sector overall is quite divorced from the console market, in which Microsoft plays third fiddle, since the whole selling point of cloud streaming is that the device agnostic and doesn't require dedicated gaming hardware. Now, I'd like to point this out. I do like to point out and discuss the cloud gaming element of Game Pass. It's the reason I get Ultimate. But in actuality, a lot of people won't use it because of Force Controller being one of them, and because not many people have a mobile device that is strong enough to cope for a long period of time. And that, sadly, is one of the key points that will kind of prevent it from being as good as it can be. Whereas, on the other hand, Game Pass isn't really used as much for cloud gaming as much as it's used primarily, I'd personally say, as a subscription service to download games that you can play for a cheaper price if you just want to try them out and play them. That's it. That's why people like Game Pass. It's not really because of cloud gaming. Oh. This is the nascent market of the CMA's ruling seeks to protect, arguing that Microsoft being able to further cement its dominance by locking up the properties. Belonging to one of the biggest. Oh. By locking up the properties belonging to one of the biggest, belonging to one of the industry's largest publishers, would not only extend its market lead to the point of being potentially unassailable, but it would also give Microsoft too much power to set terms for other entrants into cloud gaming.
Are you alright? What's going on?
Oh, fucking hell, I don't know. Oh, that's weird. Oh,
Your
what the
voice
hell?
is just going more and more, dude.
It's back now. What the fuck?
You alright?
Mm. Okay. I'm going to pause this for 2 minutes. Sorry for that. Apparently, I just started dealing with acid reflux. Fantastic times. Right. We'll continue on from where we were, since I just have weird issues.
Don't we all, my friend?
Oh, ain't that the truth? Um. Trying to find it. Here it is. Cement its dominance by locking up the properties belonging to one of the industry's largest publishers would not only extend its market lead to the point of being potentially unassailable, but it would also give Microsoft far too much power to set the terms for any other entrants into cloud gaming. This double effect would expose consumers to high prices because it's very obvious that services like Game Pass will not be sustainable long term at their current pricing level, and only some serious market competition will provide downward pressure on these prices. That's true, but once again, people do not get Game Pass for cloud gaming. They get it
Actually be quite interesting to see how many people actually do use it.
for
'Cause I feel
cloud
like there's
gaming.
a lot of people that don't even know about it, let alone use it.
Oh, 100%. I'd like to see the stats, but I don't think we've really seen any as of yet.
I'd love just to see a poll done of like who people who haven't heard of it and don't know what it is, people who've heard about it and don't use it, and then people who use it. Just that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah. I am interested, to be honest. Oh, here we go. There is some news. This came from a year ago today. That's impressive. 10 million people have streamed games on Xbox Cloud Gaming.
That's not a lot.
You what, sorry?
That is not a lot.
No, not particular. Uh, So, over the case of 2 years, 2.5 years, we'll say, there has been 25 million Game Pass subscribers. This is as of last year, and 16 million of those were Ultimate Tier. Yet only 10 million people have streamed a game on Xbox Cloud. So that's under half.
You would need to go deeper into that and see how many of them actually did it intentionally.
Yeah.
Or if it's just these people like, oh look, a game. You clicked on it and didn't realize.
I mean, I know me and my partner, we ended up we loaded up a game. I did it by downloading it, and she ended up launching it via cloud. And then realised it wasn't very good, so she jumped off it. Never to touch it again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it works sometimes. You're not always going to find that it's fantastic for you, and you're not always going to use it. So that 10 million doesn't really mean much.
No.
Now, the 25 million people who subscribe to Game Pass, in general, that's pretty decent. Well, you got to think as well, Will. If we actually look at in regards to the sales of consoles, sales, Sony. If I pull that up real quick, here we are. So 2021, this was just as it released. Sony sell 7.8 million PS5s by the end of March 2021. And that was like a massive thing. Now, if we actually pull it up, I think there's an article here about that. Ah, chart. Fantastic. This will be the PS4 and PS3. So PS4 and Xbox One, and the PS3 and Xbox 360. PS4, 113.5 million devices were sold. Xbox One, 48.5 million. PS3, 87.4 million. Xbox 360, 85.8 million.
Wow, very close.
That explains why I always say that Xbox seemed, in my opinion, to be at that point. And I think I know why now. Looking at it, Xbox released the 360 a year before the PS3 released. Which makes sense. But if you also look,
would have made it a lot easier for people to get both consoles.
Yeah.
In both release at once.
100%, yeah. And I think that's probably why it's dropped as much back then. But then, obviously, will come up PS4, they've sold more. PS5, I'm guaranteeing they will have probably sold more of them as well. That's the way it goes. But that's how much roughly they sell in regards to actual console devices. So you're talking about 160, 170 mil on average each year in console sales. But in realistic, from a realistic viewpoint, about 25 million, considering that Xbox One sold 48.5 million consoles, 25 million on the newer consoles, that sounds about accurate. But then if you brought it to today, because that's a year old now, you're probably talking 30, 35, 40 mil. So things kind of move forwards, you are going to see that sort of sale. But no, about 10, 20 mil is a decent profit margin for any company when it comes to games. Because weirdly enough, there are not that many as you'd think.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But no.
The reason when you used to play Black Ops 2 and the old Modern Warfare is the reason you would typically run into the same people.
Yep, exactly.
It wasn't a coincidence.
No. As much as you can walk around and see quite a lot of people in gaming, there isn't as many as you think when you look at the sales. It's kind of shocking when you first think about it. But basically, this guy in this article just kind of goes through and continues to talk about how, to sum it up, it's about the cloud market. Companies like Nvidia need basically a chance to progress. but he's not really looked at, for example, the article we saw earlier from Nvidia themselves, where they said it would be great for the market for the Activision Blizzard sale to go through.
Yeah, a lot of
So,
variables in it all.
yeah. So my general consensus to this entire point, simply put, everyone needs to sit down and have a discussion. Get this shit
Let's be
sorted.
honest. If the deal went through, it'd probably do far more good than it would harm.
Oh, 100% it would. It would probably be one of the better gaming deals that we'd see. Hands down. Oh,
So the reason it's been rejected is it doesn't suit someone's agenda.
basically, yeah.
Not yet,
That is to
anyway.
sum it up.
I reckon it will go through at some point.
Oh, guaranteed, yeah.
But
When the
it's
UK
just dependent
realised
on
this
when
was
it
what they've
suits.
done. What'd you say, sorry?
It'll depend on when it suits everyone. As when it'll go
Basically.
through.
Yeah, basically. But anyways, that's that topic sorted. So, Will, do you have anything you'd like to discuss before we end the episode?
Nothing I can think of, mate.
Nothing you can think of? No problem at all. Right. Well, in that case, thank you all for tuning in. I know this episode has been a bit weirder than usual, I guess I could say.
All over the place.
Yeah, we've been a bit all over the place this week.
We've died multiple times during this episode.
Yeah. Me, almost physically. Just randomly choking on my own airways, apparently. Bit weird.
Don't worry, I do that all the time. You get used to it.
Oh, good to know. Is it just a point of getting older?
No, I've done that for years, mate.
Fair play. Right. Anyways, thank you all for for listening to this episode.
Go on, Roy.
I'm out of
Your
it.
brain can do it.
It's the last bit. I can do this. Yeah, thank you all for coming by and watching this episode. We hope you've all enjoyed. If you have enjoyed, feel free to leave us a comment. Leave us anything at all. We like seeing comments. We like to discuss things. And if we can improve, we will improve. Simple as. But other than that, thank you very much. And have a good day.
Yeah,
See you all next time.
Again. Bye.
Bye.